everybody, Brandon Wyatt with Off the Grid News. Thanks for joining me today, and I have a very special edition today that I'm going to share with you. We are in the dead of winter. It's 2015 right now in Northwest Illinois, and boy oh boy do we understand what winter's like here in Northwest Illinois. I'm sure as many of you guys are viewing this throughout the country and throughout the world, you're experiencing some of these same low temperatures and some of this inclement weather that we're experiencing. You know, every year we constantly will come up with some big story, and we follow these on Off the Grid News about a major car pileup that happens on one of our interstates throughout the United States here. 150 car pileup, multiple injuries, and just an absolute hot mess with a lot of people involved. The reason I'm discussing this with you today is because we certainly don't want you to be one of those victims, but sometimes the most obvious threats are not the threat that we need to worry about. One of the threats that I'm talking about today are what happens when you're not necessarily involved in the car pileup itself, but the long chain reaction that happens afterward. Today I did a little bit of research in my office and listened to some of these headlines throughout the country. Winter whiteout carnage as massive highway pileup kills 3 people and leaves more than 20 others injured. 30 vehicles involved in a deadly crash as a blizzard sweeps in. Cranes used to move wreckage as a rescue crew has to search for trapped drivers. Now, these are the things that every year inevitably happen throughout the Midwest and throughout the United States for that matter. And what I want to talk to you about today is, again, what happens when you're not a part of that specific accident, but essentially the pileup that happens behind and the things that happen to people. We want to open that discussion up to everybody here at Off the Grid News today. I want to talk about some of the right answers. I think that there's a lot of wrong answers, but some of the right answers and the right answer for myself, what I do to prepare for inclement weather when I get out on the highway and have to travel in this type of thing. First of all, I just want to tell you though, I do carry a bag with me at all times in the car. I carry a snap bag. It's designed for when that situation doesn't go down the way that you want it to. And I always have an alternative power supply. Much for the same reason that OnStar has in your vehicles a secondary way for you to call for help. That secondary power supply is there for you in the event that you've been in an accident and cannot power any devices, cell phones or whatever it may be. The other thing that I carry besides that alternative power supply in the wintertime is a survival blanket that's ran through a USB. This thing's absolutely great, and I can tell you through some of my research today, I've just heard of too many people that have suffered from hypothermia. One of the ways that I use that survival blanket is just alternating. You could hold it in your hands, keep your extremities warm, and then also go back to your core by tucking that in. These are life-saving, up to 5 hours of life-saving heat that you could get from that. Again, not a lot of wrong answers here, but probably a lot of great answers that I want you as the listenership and viewership to add to this as well. The whole purpose of this video today is to open that discussion, share some of those ideas, and make sure when you go onto your Facebook, give me a like so we can get this message out there and start this discussion so more people can be safe. With Off the Grid News, I'm Brandon Wyatt.